My name's Mike Sullivan. I'm the lead singer of the band Ghosts Among the Pines from Dothan, Alabama. After failing to find a podcast that would interview me about my band, I said, fuck it. So, welcome to the first episode of I'll Do It My Damn Self, where I interview local musicians about their musical journey, musical influences, and the state of the music scene in the Wiregrass area. On today's episode, I interview the one and only Brad Clayton, elder statesman of the Dothan scene and lead singer of the band All Those Flashing Lights.
Conversation.
Yeah, conversation.
All right. Yeah.
Hey everybody, what's going on? I'm Mike Sullivan.
Brad Clayton.
And today we thought it would be fun as the elder heads of the Dothan scene to kind of get together and talk about what made us, how did we get here, and what's the state of the scene as we see it right now.
Yeah. It's going to be fun. It's going to be interesting. Yep.
So I guess I'll just go ahead and kick us off then.
Yeah.
So as men in our 40s, I would assume that we have similar cultural touch points from growing up.
Yeah.
If you look at, I've heard it called monoculture, in that we grew up, children in the 80s, adolescents in the 90s. We saw the dawning of the internet, but before then, we were all kind of bombarded with the same pop culture. We watched the same TV shows, the same videos on MTV, had the same stuff on the radio. So, for you, what was it? What was your gateway out of the prevailing pop culture of the time, and how did you discover underground music?
Yeah. So, I've just like yourself and so many others, I've been always obsessed with music. Always. I can remember being very young and swimming through my dad's LPs on the floor, spreading out all the records and going through and just being so captivated by all that. But I think it was you grew up in a small town and there's not a lot of there's no independent record stores around where you can go and kind of have that gateway where they're like, oh, if you like this, you should check out this, or if you like this, you should check out that. And so I think for me it was, I had some older friends, and there was a local scene going on at the time with Haji and the Turbans and punk rock around here, and that was just getting filtered down. Somebody would come through town to play a show at the Holiday Inn or the Basket Case over here, the restaurant. There would be a show there, and so somebody from Pensacola or Atlanta or Birmingham would come down and kind of be like, oh, have you heard this? If you like the Misfits, have you heard this band? And so there was some of that going on. Pre-internet, you just it was word of mouth. You had to rely on hearing what other people wanted you to hear, and which was it's I don't think any other generation's ever going to feel that again.
No, because nowadays it's just with the internet, everything's so algorithm driven. You can basically find whatever you want at the touch of your fingers
easily, and which is great. I mean, it's cool, but I think a lot can get lost in the shuffle too,
right?
Because and then too, if you were 13, 14 years old, and if you did buy a record or an album by somebody, you didn't have iTunes or Spotify, or you had to listen to the whole thing.
Yes.
Otherwise, you wasted your money, right?
Oh, and I definitely did waste my money.
Sure.
Several things. There would be, it's like the single.
Yep.
And I'd buy the entire album, and the rest of the album
it was
absolute garbage.
Garbage. Yeah. And then you're stuck because that was your allowance for the week or the money that you had, and you were like, oh, here we go. This is it. And now for the next 2 weeks, this is what I'm listening to, whether I like it or not.
Yes.
Yeah. So I definitely think that. I do think to answer back, and I want to hear your perspective on that. But around the time of the internet, kind of really becoming full bloom, my big thing was finding record labels like Saddle Creek.
Yes.
And so I would get one album from them. They would send you in the mail. You would get the little calendar, or
yes.
the the little catalog, right? And you'd flip through, and you're like, oh yeah, like
Yeah.
these guys toured with this band, and this band toured with that band, and like you would, you kind of buy the records like that, and even still, like if you could maybe use Napster, right?
Right.
You get the one song by them, and you're like, oh yeah, this is good. Like I want to get this whole album. Yeah.
And then you wind up with a virus on your computer, and
Yeah.
your mother and father
And
are
screaming at you.
Are screaming at you.
Or the download took 48 minutes and
Yes.
or 48 hours.
And somebody picked up the phone,
and then it ruins it.
and it ruined it.
And you get that like weird transfer in the middle of your
Yes.
song, like yeah.
So I miss the days of the CD compilation disc.
Yeah.
So for me, so much music was discovered through things like Punk-O-Rama and Vagrant, Back to the Streets.
Absolutely.
You get these samplers, and it's like, oh, here's a song by the Descendants. I've never heard them.
Yeah.
And it was like, oh man, this coffee mug song is fucking rad.
And I think too, like what was so cool about that is that even being from a small place, you kind of felt like you're the only person in the world that knows it.
Yes.
And then you find out, oh, the Descendants. Everybody fucking knows the Descendants, right? Everybody's listening to the Descendants. I think so. Oh, another one too, and I imagine this was a big influence on you as well. Like skate culture.
Oh yeah.
Watching skate videos. Watching. I was never good at skateboarding.
No, I tried.
Yeah, I tried too, and I was terrible. But the culture's music, hearing so many bands, and then you're like having to watch the credits at the end and pause them and be like,
Yes.
wait, who is that? Yeah. I like that. I want to hear more of that. Yeah.
So I guess for me, I very much grew up a child of my times in the South. I think I had very eclectic music growing up because in the car with my mother, it was always the oldies station. So anything from like 50s and 60s doo-wop and girl groups.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And then into the 70s, like Sonny and Cher type stuff.
Yeah.
I was exposed to that. My dad was really into people like The Doors and Led Zeppelin, and we had
that rock.
we had that had a crate full of vinyl too that I discovered.
Yeah.
Very much. I did the trying to sync up the Wizard of Oz to Dark Side of the Moon.
Yeah.
All of that, and then very much in the when the '90s hit, especially being in the South, right? So it was Garth Brooks.
Oh yeah.
That type of stuff very much got into the modern country of the time as a kid.
Same, yeah. The '90s boom of that re-emergence of country music.
And it's something that for a long time, when I started getting into like punk music, that I was like, oh, I'll keep that shit quiet.
Right.
Now I can look back and unironically say that fucking Callin' Baton Rouge is a fucking banger. Right? Fucking banger.
It is a fucking banger. My grandfather worked at the radio station as an engineer, and so he hated country music.
Yes.
But he worked at the country music station, so it was always on in his car. Because he was he was a company man, right? You got to stick to it. So that was like Tim McGraw and all that stuff, and I did the same thing. Like you go through your cool period where you're like,
I'm too cool for that,
and then you kind of go back and you're like, oh, those are really good songs, right? Those are really good songs, like, and they're designed to be. I mean, they're perfect hits,
Oh yeah. They are pop music.
Absolutely, at its absolute.
That's right.
Zenith.
So a lot of people don't know this about me. I went to military school from 7th, 8th, and 9th grade.
Yeah.
So I'm like 12 years old, and this little runt of a kid, and there was this older dude. He may have been 11th grade, 12th grade, big, huge, barrel-chested dude, and for whatever reason, he took a shine to me. And he loved punk music.
Yeah.
And from there, that was my gateway into like the 70s and 80s punk. Sex Pistols, Ramones,
Sure.
Fear, Minor Threat, Dead Kennedys, the Misfits. So I very much got into that. And at the time I'd been exposed to Nirvana, and Metallica. That was, anytime you'd watch MTV, you were bound to see the Smells Like Teen Spirit video,
of course.
or like Enter Sandman. One of those were in constant rotation. But so I'd been introduced to aggressive music, but it was not known as, like, Nirvana was not punk to me. That was grunge alternative. Right?
And hugely popular as well. Yeah.
So I'd been exposed to that kind of music, but it wasn't until that experience that I was like, holy shit, this is like so raw, and
Primal.
And Primal. And it
yeah.
was, for me, that was when I was like, oh, I could do that.
Right.
I grew up playing music. My first, I was in violin lessons when I was 3. That sucked. I was not good at it. So then they put a piano in my hands. I did better at that. Piano was my first instrument.
Yeah.
But yeah, it wasn't until I got exposed to punk that I then came home on one of my weekends off from military school and was like, I want an electric guitar.
Yeah.
And I need you to go and buy me Walk Among Us and Fresh Fruit for Rotting Vegetables. And they looked at me like I was insane.
Yeah. And maybe like that military school thing used to happen quicker.
That was the gateway, and my life was forever changed after that.
And I just thought of this too, but you didn't grow up here, right?
No, I grew up in Tuscaloosa.
So
then moved down here for work in 2005.
And your wife is from this area.
That's right.
Yeah. So I'm from here and grew up here, and so there was, again, I was talking to a friend of mine about this recently. There was one place here where, which was Dakota Coffee Works, which is still here now, but the original location was kind of the hub of alternative, punk, metal, all those things.
Yeah, my wife has very fond memories of it. Anybody I talk to brings up the old scene, and Dakota always comes up.
I worked there for 15 years, on and off throughout my entire life, and they were events, but even not even just the shows. You would have people, and that was another thing where you found a lot of music, right? People would come in. And, similar to you, I was young. I was 15 years old when I got my job there. And some of these guys I had no business hanging out with, by the way, 23, 24 years old. But they took me in, and, I was exposed to a lot of really great art in music and a lot of really bad art in music. And, but again, kind of the like, oh, I could be doing this. Like, I could do something, it's not unattainable to do something with a passion, and it doesn't have to be on a level that is unattainable. Like, you could do this locally and even regionally, and you can make something of this. Yeah. Absolutely.
So you mentioned you grew up here. Do you think growing up in the South has played into the way you write and make music?
Yeah, absolutely. What's funny is that I write now. I put a record out a couple years ago, a solo record. And then shortly thereafter that, I started my band, All Those Flashing Lights. And going through, I've always been attracted to sad songs and morose. And I know that sounds cliche and all that, but it's true. And writing, I when I went back objectively and started looking at lyrics I had written, there's so much religious stuff in there.
I noticed that too.
Yeah.
When I first started listening to All Those Flashing Lights. Mm-hmm. Listening, I was like, man, Brad really makes a lot of like religious allusions.
Yeah, and so you're not the first person to mention that to me, and I think maybe that's why I kind of like retroactively went back and looked. Mm-hmm. And I was raised, pretty Christian, in church all the time, and I grew up pretty inoculated with that, and that was heavy. And around 13 or 14, my parents divorced, and church was no longer a mandatory thing, but I found peace throughout all that as well. But I think lyrically, that's where the peace comes from, is exercising out a lot of that guilt and shame and Southern Christianity that is an albatross on a lot of us. And it doesn't mean that you can't find good in it as well. There is good in that. But for me, a lot of that comes out later on in life. And as I read lyrics, I think that I write, and I'm like, oh, wow, maybe that was really, that was a heavy thing. I don't even know that maybe that's how I exercised that out, right?
It wasn't until I got older that I realized that I had a lot of themes that I continually visited and revisited.
Yes.
And I think a lot of that for me was, am I too late? Am I running out of time?
Sure.
Have I made the wrong decisions?
Yeah.
I've continued to stay in the South.
Yes.
And there were times I was like, man, I need to get the fuck out of here.
Yeah. Absolutely.
But I stayed, and I think one of the things that I really am conscious of when I write now is I being Southern is part of my identity.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Even though I'll meet people and they're like, "You ain't from around
Dude.
here."
So my whole life that happens to me as
Yeah.
well. Like,
It's
oh, you're
like,
not from
no.
Alabama.
No,
Yeah.
dude. It's like, no, I'm fucking born and raised in Alabama.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
But so there are a lot of things that I love about the South and would
Mm-hmm.
not ever get rid of, and why I continue to stay here.
Mm-hmm.
But I also feel like there's a dichotomy,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
of being Southern within me. That because there's a lot of negative stereotypes about the South,
Yeah.
and a lot of them are true.
100%.
And that's why they exist, and that's the stuff that I struggle with as an artist and musician who considers myself Southern, but rebels against the stereotype of what a Southerner is.
Yeah, and I can completely. I think too. That's why me and you became friends so quick.
Yes.
I think there's a you recognize that in other people, and same. I'm proud to be from the South. There's things of the South that I love. I love that I can get boiled peanuts anytime, and I love that.
And did you notice how he said that? Boiled peanuts.
Boiled, yeah,
Not
exactly.
boiled. Boiled peanuts.
Well, I mean, you know.
Boiled.
Boiled. I mean,
yeah.
it doesn't sound right?
Yeah.
That's too much. That's just too much mouth work. No, same. I was raised, fortunately, in a pretty open household. My mother is a therapist, and there's probably a book to be written about that as well.
Oh, yeah.
Being raised
I'm
by
sure,
a
yeah,
therapist.
right.
However, we were allowed to be who we are, and I think that's a big thing. So many people weren't allowed to be who they are, but I like you said, there's times where you just sort of like, I've got to get the fuck out of here. I can't do this. And I think too, sometimes sticking around, you're able to. I was explaining this to somebody the other day that was saying a bunch of really negative stuff, and I was like, there's people that probably read what you're putting up and they're seeing, and it might not be a bad idea to be a positive influence for younger people in the South to be like, hey, like look at this guy. And again, it's not like patting yourself on the back, but like you made it this far, right? And you've come up in the same area, and although a different time now, with like the internet being what it is, it's a different situation. But the kindness in the South is here, and then there's a cruelty in the South.
Yes.
And I think it's the
and
balance.
It's a
of those
cruelty that's tinged with sweetness.
and that's a real hard one to crack,
Yes.
right? Yeah. I mean, I think we all probably have family members that are like that. I have a family member, and that we, different ones that are, unapproving, and hey, we get music now.
Hey,
that's good.
Gonna get a copyright strike.
But I love. I'm with you. I really resonate with what you said there. I'm proud to be from the South. I love it. There's parts of it I hate, and there's parts of it I wish could change. But it is a definite part of me as well. And there's even phrases I've seen in your lyrics and my own that are like, oh, it's Southern, yeah. Like it's definitely.
I think in one of my most recent songs, I talk about I want to have a conniption fit.
Which, I mean, go anywhere above the Mason-Dixon line and say that.
They don't know what the fucking conniption is. Yeah.
You've got what? Did your doctor give you that? He's like, no. Yeah. Yeah.
So you mentioned about being a good influence for the younger people in the South. So I'm interested because you were born and raised and you're from here.
Yeah.
So when you look back at the scene then, and the scene as it's happening now, are there any similarities or the contrast to that? What advice would you give to the younger folks in the scene now, looking back?
With punk, there was always this, an open acceptingness of like people of color could come in, and there's nobody's batting an eye. People, LGBTQ plus people, different religious, different all that stuff, and that's not a factor, right? And making a connection with somebody, whereas so many other scenes that is, like you just don't have that. And I again, never being into playing punk music, but just having an appreciation of what that is and that culture. And I see that now even more so with, things are different now. Things are more accepting, even more so, right? I mean, you've got there's such more visibility now for trans youth, and even in music. And we didn't see that then.
No, hell no.
It exists, but it wasn't openly available to people to explore that and be a part of that, and to feel like they belong. Same with even people of color. Like we see that more now, which is amazing. Like there's so many doors that have been opened, as we continue to go. And I'm not saying that we open those doors. I'm just saying that as a community, it opens and opens and opens, right? And so for the scene, I see it being more inclusive, more kind, more like when we did the show at Thirsty Pig a few weeks ago. You just had all different kinds of folks there. And it's like...
It was such a cool vibe.
Yeah, and everyone's having fun, and everyone's enjoying. And to think that in a town this size to have, what was it, I'd say over 100 folks maybe out there, to watch original music, not to see a cover band, not to go and drink and listen to the same songs you always get to hear, but to see somebody who's written their own stuff and support it and buy merch and stuff. That's the thing that is amazing, right?
Yes.
And any advice I would have is to, which I didn't follow for a long time, is to do what you want to do. Like if you do it, people will recognize your authenticity. Like
yes,
100%. And for so long, I would write stuff that I didn't even like because I thought that's how it was supposed to be done.
Yeah.
And I think as you age too, right? And I don't know if you have a similar feeling like that, but like you start listening to songwriters, and I'm sure we'll talk about our influences, but when you hear people write stuff in a way that it makes you stop, like completely, full stop moment, and you're like, what? Like, how did you, and I think that you have to find those niches. You have to find those paths to be able to do authentic stuff, right?
Yes.
Otherwise, it's just repetition. And so when I see the new bands in this town that are coming out that are so good, it's like, yeah, keep forging. Like, keep doing this. Keep doing this. Like, even if there's 10 people that are watching, if nobody buys a shirt, like, keep going. It's worth it. It's so worth it. Yeah.
Yeah. Keep going.
Yes.
That is definitely. And then be humble.
Yeah.
There was a time in my life, in my musical journey, where I developed a reputation for being an asshole. And I look back on that now, and I cringe.
Yeah, I've got similar things like that, and not even just in music, just how I treated people. And I learned later, as I got older, that, and I've written some about this too, is that I was so anxious and so uncomfortable navigating all of this, and not just music, but just life, right? In your early 20s. And I was cruel to people, and never for anything other than like just in my interactions. It wasn't based on their color of their skin or anything of that nature, but just but it was me trying to be cooler than I thought I was.
Oh yeah.
And as I got older, and I've gone back and made amends with people and been like, and they're like, oh man, like that's just kind of what you, and I was like, yeah, but you got to understand, I was so uncomfortable that I thought I was doing myself a favor when in fact I wasn't. And again, now at 42 years old, I just want to be kind to people. I just don't want to. But the humble thing comes too, right? If like you're setting up to play, treat every other band with respect. Like be kind to each other. Like you're all doing this for the same reason. You should be doing this for the same reason, which is that you love doing it and not.
You never know who you'll make an impact on. That they'll remember for the rest of their life, and so try to make those positive ones. I had a time where, and I didn't even realize this at the time, and I only learned about it about a year ago, that I was rude to somebody when I was like 20 years old.
Yeah.
At a show, I made an ass of myself, and it stuck with them.
Yeah.
And it was through the course of events that they wound up seeing one of the other band members 20-something years later and was like, hey, are we cool? And they're like, what are you talking about? And they name dropped me and that I was an asshole to them at a show. And I was like, holy shit.
Yeah.
I had no idea.
Yeah.
And I felt so bad.
And, maybe that goes into a deeper conversation about to do music, you do have to have something of an ego. You have to. You have to be able to get up there and reconcile with yourself to get on any stage, right?
Yes.
But to write your own things, your own feelings, your own thoughts, and get up there and present those to people, there has to be.
You gotta have some cockiness to be able to do that.
You gotta do it, and
to be able to even fathom that somebody's gonna like the shit that comes out of my mouth.
Well, and I think that's where that young man's cruelty comes from.
Yes.
That's what I was talking about with your cockiness. At a vessel for a 21-year-old guy or girl or whomever, there's not a lot of depth to understand it.
Yes.
So as you get up there and you do these things, there comes like a rudeness or a cruelty that I think you don't realize that you're doing. I think the hope though is that you do realize later that you did it.
Yes.
Whether like I've had stories like that too, where like, man, you were such a dick to me, and I'm like, oh man, like I had no clue. I'm so sorry, you know. And then there's times where I'm like, I was so rude to that person,
Right?
Because I thought I needed to be. And I think that's growing up, and I think the younger generation will have it a little better. I hope. I think
hope so.
I see them being kinder.
I do see.
Yeah,
I do
yeah.
see more kindness. But yeah, there's definitely. I think there's a world that exists where you can be the rock star on stage and be the humble person off stage that you need to be to continue to have positive influence.
I think another big thing too is that reminding yourself, and I do this now, right? This is not my job. Like, this is my passion. Okay.
Yes.
I am a nurse by trade, right? I spend all day working with patients. Like you, I'm a father. I'm a husband. And so this for me is such a treat to be able to go out and do this. And I get to look forward to it now. I get to do it like, oh my God, you know, we get to play. And even, you know, even when there's a lull, it's like, yeah, that's fine. But to be able to appreciate what you got, and now to be able to do both, like you just said, be as big as you can be on that stage, give it all, and then go home and do the regular stuff
That's
too.
right.
And I think that keeps you from going crazy. You know, maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, maybe.
I don't know. I've never got to do it full time, so
I hear
maybe you wouldn't be.
All right, let's get into the nitty gritty.
Yeah.
Influences.
Okay. You want me to go first?
Sure.
Okay. So I remember you asked me a question one time about like what song made you realize you wanted to write
Yes.
songs, right? Which is the best question, because yeah, you grow up and you love music, you're just hearing it all the time, but there does come a point, I think, where you listen to lyrics and you start going like, whoa, wait. And for me, that song was Bob Dylan's Joker Man.
Okay.
It's a religious song. Bob Dylan did this weird, it's like my favorite period of him, where he became this kind of faux Christian and won a Grammy, and then later it was like, I didn't mean any of that. Which, you know, if you like Bob Dylan, you know that he's just,
right.
he's a character. But that song, and I think too, for me, it is still stuck with me to this day, because there is so much religious imagery in that. But the way he did it, it wasn't just like a Bible verse. You know, he's writing stuff like, you know, standing on the water, casting your bread, while the eyes of the idol with the iron head are glowing.
Yeah.
And you're hearing that and just being like, whoa,
Yeah,
what?
what did you just
what?
say? Yeah.
What? Like, that's a lyric? Like, you opened a song with that? That really turned me on to to language, to like, how do we use, because I mean, let's be fair, every song has been written, right? Yeah, every topic has been written about. So for me, and this will segue to what you asked me about my influences, guys like Nick Cave can write a love song, but make it, the language he uses for that is so verbose, so tangible. Like you picture. I'm the biggest Bruce Springsteen fan in the world. I, to me, there's guys like that just, they're a cut above in how they describe the mundane, right? Like working in a factory or something. But if you can make it feel like it's a Scorsese movie, like you're seeing it, right? Or the language just like hits you in the soul, you're like, whoa, you know? So for me, Nick Cave, Bruce Springsteen, Conor Oberst is a huge one for me. Another person that I think just transcends language in the way he uses it. Joanna Newsom, freak folk stuff, you know. And then as far as like, and you know, I don't limit myself to one type of music either. Like Deaf Heaven is a black metal, American black metal band. I think is the best band in the world. I think they're I saw them a couple nights ago. I've seen them a few times. I'm nowhere close to doing anything they do, but what they do is so special because it is so unique and so them. And I know they probably get a lot of hate. The metal community is a real bunch of haters. Love you guys, but you're a bunch of haters. You know, a too cool for school thing. Right. But I love that they get up there and they do what they do. And I think that goes back to my point about authenticity. Like, you can pick it up on people. And when you see that in art, and those things are so important. They're so important.
Yeah.
Your influences.
So I kind of did this thought exercise the other day when we began talking about doing this, and there's, you know, kind of that temptation to list the cool stuff, right?
Of course, yeah.
But if I'm really honest, I can say Tom Waits.
Sure,
know?
Big one for me. Yeah,
that's you know, 'cause that's the cool thing to say.
Sure,
and,
sure.
But I'll be honest, I don't like all his catalog.
Oh, of course,
Some of it's fucking weird.
Yeah,
but
you get in that Black Rider years, or like.
Yeah. But yeah, I love his piano ballads, and then like Chuck Reagan and Hot Water Music, big influences on me. So what made me want to actually make music, I mean, I grew up playing music. I sang in the Alabama Boy Choir as a kid. A lot of, traditional, classically trained music history for me. And then played in marching and symphonic and jazz band, played clarinet. That was 12-year-old Benny Goodman on the clarinet. But
yeah, we're gonna make a documentary about you, military school and the clarinet. That's
but so I think one of the first real big influences on me that made me want to do actually like write was Jello Biafra from the Dead Kennedys, and just because of how just satirical it was, and he would very much do this thing where he would take the point of view of an awful person, and then write from that point of view, in a satirical way, so that you knew it's like, okay, he doesn't really want to kill the poor, but
right.
So as a young man in my teenage years,
impressionable,
that was like, man, I could write some stuff like that.
Sure. Another one for me was Morrissey and the Smiths, and I know Morrissey is very controversial.
He's a dick, but
he's a dick. I don't want to hang out with Morrissey.
No, I don't want
to. But
hang out with
he's one of my favorite songwriters on the planet.
Yes.
And I, there's always been like the Smiths versus the Cure, and I'm like, I love them both, so I'm not even going to try it. Yeah. But Morrissey had a real way to do that too, where he could like break your heart and make you laugh in the same sentence, and like, it's
There Is a Light That Never Goes Out is one of the greatest songs ever written. I'm jealous that you can tell a great story. I mean, you're an amazing songwriter. You can tell a story in like 3 minutes, and I love every part of it. And I always feel the need I need to learn to maybe edit a little bit. Maybe I don't, but I like the fact that you can get it done very to the point. And, thank you.
And it's good. Yeah,
I appreciate that. That means a lot.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
Well, I will say I do the indulgence that you're delving into.
Yeah,
I love it, man.
Thank you.
It's so good. And the Run Rabbit Run.
Yeah.
Like it's got that like build up into it. Like that hits so many things for me.
Man,
it's like,
that means so much. Thank you.
I fucking love it.
Thanks. I'm really. I wanted to be in a band for so long, and me and you've talked about this a lot. That there's a lot of great people around here, but you got to be in the right moment. You got to be in the right mind frame, and you got to be the right place in your life to play music with somebody.
Yep.
And it just didn't happen for a long time. And then when this came together, it did, and it just kind of snapped into place. And these songs were a lot of fragments and riffs I had written, like Run Rabbit Run, for instance, is like 3 different parts I had written. And then I realized, like, oh, they're all kind of in the same key. Like, I could
mix them together.
I could snap that together. Yeah,
it's fun when that stuff clicks.
Yeah. Or like one of my guys will be like, CJ will have like a drum part that I'm like, whoa,
yeah, what was that?
Wait, bring that back. Hold on, I got something for that.
Cool.
For that. I think that's I think that as a scene of a whole, there's so many good people in this town. There's so many good players in this town, and I want to personally thank you because. I'm friends with your brother-in-law, and he messaged me, and he was like, hey, man, because me and him used to go to shows together, and he was into a lot of the more emo stuff that, like in that time frame that I was. Because, like I said, wasn't a full-blown punk, punk adjacent.
Adjacent.
Remember that? Yeah. Punk adjacent. Tag me with that.
Hashtag you punk adjacent.
Yeah. We'll get that viral. Let's get that viral. Brad Clayton, punk adjacent. Yeah, that's right.
Punk adjacent.
But he messaged me and he was like, hey, like my brother-in-law, he's always done original stuff. He's wanting to get into that. And I told him, you're the only person I know down there that's still doing it. And you coming in, we have been really trying, and you really brought a lot with you and has opened this thing up. Which is why I'm so grateful me and you can sit here and be friends and talk today. And this is so fun because for so long, there wasn't a lot of people trying to make, and it ebbs and flows, right? You have years where it's really good, and then you have years where people move off or they go to the cover band route. And again, no diss to that. That's fine if that's your thing.
Yeah.
But I play music, and I imagine you're the same person because I wanted to write music.
Yes.
Like the whole reason to do it.
I never did it to get famous.
No.
Because I enjoyed it.
Or to be the best at it, or to be like, I wanted to express. Like again, when you heard those songs as a kid, and like when you hear that, you're like, could I do that?
I can do that.
Right. I don't have to write like rhyming words. I can do something so different.
Yeah.
I can do something interesting.
We moved here in 2005 so that I
wow.
could go to work at the nuclear plant.
Yeah.
So it's been 20 years in Dothan now.
Wow.
And we got here, and I'd been in multiple bands in Tuscaloosa, the part of the scene there, and it made a move for work, and then moved to a town where I didn't know anybody.
Yeah.
I was working at Pacific Sunwear in the mall,
Oh my God,
and
yeah.
working in the back of Longhorn Steakhouse while I was in the process of
Getting the job.
at the
Yeah.
nuclear plant, because we moved maybe a little prematurely. I didn't actually have the job, but I was so burnt out in Tuscaloosa.
Yeah,
it's like
you were ready.
We're doing it. And then eventually, went to work at the nuclear plant. Been there for officially since 2007, but I was a contractor for a while.
Yeah.
And so during all that, I was still like playing music. Like we had a little music room in our back. I had my piano and the guitars, and I was toying around, and like at one point, like I did like an alt country thing.
Yeah.
And a lot of those songs we actually play now.
Yeah.
Just like it's like, it's no longer alt country. It's just fucking punk rock.
Sure.
It's again, it's all pop music in the end.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It all fits together. Yeah.
So it wasn't until eventually I went through this period of what I would say, I was trying to be the man that I was supposed to be, what society said I needed to be. It was, I'm gonna build a career.
Sure.
I'm gonna work for the company, and I'm not just gonna have a job.
Yeah.
And I have a song about this now that hadn't been released yet, but
Yeah, I look forward to that.
But yeah, it was, and I guess I got to the point where it's like, brah, I'm fucking tired of not just being me.
Sure.
So it was like, okay, I started doing open mics, and then playing some of my old songs, and then I was like, hey, I need to write some new songs, and started writing some new songs, and that's ultimately how Ghosts Among the Pines started. Was it just me and my acoustic guitar?
Yeah. I remember like when you first sent me, or when I first heard stuff, it was that.
And then now it's a full-fledged band, and we're out there and doing it. So last couple questions. What are you spinning right now? If I were to go look at your vinyl record player, what are you listening
to? Let's see. I hate to double down, but the new Deaf Heaven record, it's Lonely People Without Power. It's absolutely fantastic. Let's see. What else has been really kind of heavy lately? Mars Volta's last one.
Oh man, yeah.
Yeah, it's so good.
Love those guys.
They're so amazing. Some John Prine. Those are I have things I call my Sunday morning records.
Yes.
So it's like Townes Van Zandt, John Prine, Tom Waits.
Yeah, that's a vibe right there.
Yeah, and it's like, we don't go to church, but we get up and have breakfast. We listen quiet. You listen
to chill singer-songwriters.
Yeah, and put that on the record player and just kind of relax and do your thing. The new Bright Eyes EP is really great. I don't know, man. I think that's really kind of it. What about you? What's what you currently into?
So you mentioned Mars Volta, so that's kind of the vibe of what I've been listening to.
Yeah.
Specifically, I've been really listening to over and over again "The Shape of Punk to Come" by Refused.
Yeah.
And so that's 1997, and as a kid, whenever I first heard that, I did not appreciate it for exactly the same reasons of why I appreciate it now.
Today, yeah.
And it was because then I very much wanted fast, simple, 3 to 4 chords max, 220 beats per minute, just fucking going. And they didn't do that. They very much played
their own thing
with genre, and did a lot of stuff that broke that mold.
Yeah.
And now, as an adult, I listen to that, and it's like, this is fucking cool.
That's it, man. That's it. Yeah.
This is great. So it was one of those. It was the same thing with Fugazi. I didn't appreciate Fugazi as a kid. It wasn't until I got older.
There's bands like that for me too that you should have gotten into, or your says you should have. And sometimes it just takes a different path. You talked about All Country. Wilco is one of those bands.
Yes.
I love Wilco, but I remember the first time somebody gave me Yankee Foxtrot Hotel, and they're like, "It's the greatest record ever made," and I was like, I don't get it, man. Right. What's happening here? Like, it's not bad, but it's not. Yeah, and then there was like the 9th listen where I kept making myself, and I had more time then too, but I started listening, and then I was like, oh, wait a minute. Oh,
Yes.
oh, whoa, what's happening here? Like, this is really great. Yeah.
I guess lastly, anybody locally that you think we need to pay attention to?
Yeah. Lucid is
They're great.
So good.
Got so
man.
much potential.
Oh, they're so great.
And they're young.
They're
and they've got
babies.
energy and
They're babies in the best way possible. They're sweet and they're really good. Again, your band, Ghost Among the Pines is fantastic.
Thank you.
Yeah, it just original punk rock. I mean it's like Tom Waits doing punk rock, and I mean that with every. And I remember when you first sent me something, I remember sending you back like, it's like what did I say? It was like Tom Waits in Gaslight Anthem or something like that, and you were like, whoa, okay, like that's the best compliment you could have given.
Right, and that's 100% like that's the stuff that I listen to these days and draw so much inspiration from.
This TikTok stars Slug Bleed.
Yes,
right?
yeah, that's who I was going to bring up.
Cool,
Slug
yeah,
Bleed.
yeah.
I know extreme metal is not for everybody.
Sure.
But Slug Bleed, for the similar reasons to Lucid, in that they're young, they're motivated.
Yes.
They've got the energy.
Yeah.
And
they're nice people. They're good. They're like sweet.
They're cool
they're
dudes,
sweet.
Man.
Yeah,
I
it's
love
so
those
nice.
guys.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, Slug Bleed, even if you don't like that music, like you cannot deny their presence
and their passion for it. And
yes.
I mean, again, I think we could sum this up with the whole authenticity thing, right? Like people being themselves, making the music they want to make, the art they want to make. I mean, and I think that's important. It's a very important thing, right?
I agree.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you all so much for paying attention and listening.
Fun.
And
thank you
maybe
for
we'll
setting
do
this up.
Yeah, maybe we'll do this again. Who knows?
Yeah, what we should. And by the way, thank you for KT's for letting us.
Yes, yeah, we're at the back of KT's right now.
Yeah, and this it looks like we bought the space to do this in. It's really nice. Yeah. So
awesome.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank y'all.
Yeah.